Lammens.
Swung into the box. Head goes up. Brilliant save, Senna Lammens. Reaction stop from the Belgian.
These are the players United signed last summer to kickstart a revival following their dismal 15th place finish last season. Now, with more than half of this season behind us, it's fair to say that each one has emerged as a true game changer for the team. Initially, however, their arrivals sparked a flurry of questions and doubts. Would yet another high-profile acquisition from the Bundesliga fall flat in the Premier League? Could two hefty signings from mid-table sides really deliver on the big stage? And would United's missed opportunity to sign a more experienced goalkeeper come back to haunt them? But on the contrary, this is how Sesko, Cunha, Mbeumo and Lammens have each been crucial in turning this season around for United. While Sesko had a slight dip in his second season at Leipzig, netting 13 goals compared to 14 in his first, despite playing 13 more matches, the 22-year-old arrived as an unpolished diamond with immense potential. As it's turned out, the Slovenian hasn't made as obvious an impact as his fellow summer arrivals and, to some, even looked like a Ten Hag level investment. However, his contributions have hardly been meagre for such a young player adjusting to a new country and league, especially after arriving on a late summer transfer. After missing much of pre-season, he didn't make his first start until early September, scoring in both of his first two 90-minute outings against Brentford and Sunderland, before a knee injury sustained against Spurs sidelined him for a month between November and December. Injury and AFCON absences made the following month a challenging one for Ruben Amorim and then caretaker manager Darren Fletcher. But if there was one silver lining during this period, it was the return of Sesko, who netted 3 goals in 2 games under Fletcher, in stark contrast to the 2 he managed in 17 appearances under Amorim. Each of his 3 goals also showcased his varied skill set. A clever run in behind, precise timing to get into the box, and a scrappy set-piece effort that exemplified the kind of opportunistic strikes that keep a striker's tally on the rise. However, this uptick in goals didn't magically arise from Fletcher's shift away from Amorim's 3-4-2-1 system. Instead, it's been the result of Sesko's growing confidence and increasingly consistent off-ball movements since his return from injury. While still adjusting to the league, he struggled with his killer instinct in front of goal, making it feel like bringing a sword to a shootout when he led the line. But now, he takes shots from more sensible areas in the final third and with enough frequency to remain a constant threat, something Rasmus Højlund struggled with during his second season at the club. In a standout performance against Burnley, for instance, the striker recorded 39 touches, 13 of which were inside the opposition box, enabling him to unleash a total of 8 shots. This was preceded by 4 shots against Leeds, 8 against Wolves and 4 against Newcastle United, as well as 5 against Brighton in the FA Cup. These shot outputs reflect the kind of numbers United fans would long to see from their striker when facing teams that prefer to sit deep. His goal return has been far from meagre too, and when you factor in his FA Cup goal, he isn't far from averaging a goal every other game based on his minutes played. His ratio could have looked better too, having already rattled the woodwork 3 times this season. And while Sesko's contributions outside of scoring often go unnoticed for a striker, his speed, aerial ability and mere physical presence make him an imposing target man for teammates to build their attacks around. His ability to make runs in behind is also vital for United's strategy to protect leads. This was on full display against Newcastle, where his subbing off for Zirkzee in the 60th minute led to the loss of a crucial passing outlet up front, leaving United pinned back at the end of a game in which Newcastle could easily have turned the tide and snatched a point or even 3. But while Sesko had been the preferred striker under former boss Amorim, he found himself on the bench in Carrick's first 3 matches with Mbeumo shining up front. And we're not talking about his head here. Nonetheless, he remains vital in the team's attacking plans. Perhaps the narrative of Sesko's struggles arises from his inconsistency or the fact that he hasn't yet delivered a defining goal or moment. That was until his hair-raising last-minute winner against Fulham at the Stretford end. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, we'd be incredibly grateful if you subscribed. Your support helps us grow and continue creating the content you love. If there's one thing United's overhaul in attack revealed, it's that the club firmly believed their disastrous campaign last season stemmed from a lack of firepower. The new attacking potential was certainly there for all to see. Cunha had his most prolific season with 17 goals and 6 assists for Wolves, stat padding at a relegation-threatened team no less. Mbeumo scored 20 Premier League goals for Brentford last season, a tally no United player has reached since Robin van Persie 12 years ago. However, scepticism still surrounded their hefty signings. After all, United's player recruitment in the post-Ferguson era has so often been criticised for being erratic and misguided, especially given the staggering £2 billion spent on transfer fees alone since 2013. Yet by signing Cunha and Mbeumo, it felt like the club was finally realising that if they were going to invest heavily, they should do so in players who are Premier League proven.
When you sign players like Cunha and Mbeumo, who come in and absolutely have no worries about what's previously been going in, they're happy to be there, they just want to play, and they're going to... It's a complete and utter breath of fresh air.
On one hand, Mbeumo found his scoring touch early in the season, and has arguably been the success story of United's summer window with 10 goals across all competitions so far. In Amorim's 3-4-2-1 system, he occupied the right-sided number 10 role, supported superbly by makeshift right-wing back Amad Diallo behind him. Together they have forged a strong chemistry down the right flank, becoming United's primary avenue for attacking play. You only needed to look at United's form during AFCON from late December to early January to recognise Mbeumo's importance to the team. For Cunha, meanwhile, the weight of being an expensive signing and the pressure to replicate his prolific form at Wolves has been a noticeable burden, often showing in his reactions to missed chances. After all, it was the 26-year-old's impressive 15 league goals for Wolves that had single-handedly kept them from being relegated last season. So to suddenly find himself needing to wait until late October to score his first goal after a run of 9 games must have taken a toll on his confidence. Of course, beyond the stats, there have also been positive signs from the Brazilian all season. This was particularly evident on the opening match day against Arsenal and, more notably, during United's famous 2-1 win over Liverpool, where, despite not contributing in terms of goals or assists, his influence was crucial to United's first victory at Anfield in over a decade. But fast forward to now, and with 5 goals and 1 assist in his last 10 matches, the 26-year-old is beginning to showcase the form that his team can rely on for goals and assists. As the number 10s in Amorim's 3-4-2-1 system, they injected new life into United's transitional attacks, by being able to better protect possession in the final third and steer clear of the heavy touches and slack passes that used to plague United's attacking rhythm. Their dual-based approach to protecting possession in the final third also gave the team time to push forward and place themselves in better positions to draw fouls and win free kicks in the first place, rather than getting bullied off the ball, as was often the case with Højlund last season.
We have different players, more suit to this type of style, but it's a big difference.
At the same time, their role in the out-of-possession structure significantly strengthened Amorim's side defensively, as they tucked in to form a 5-4-1 to shield the midfield double pivot, one that has been far too open to penetration in the past few seasons. However, like several others in the squad, there was a sense that their roles in Amorim's system were restricting their attacking flair. For Mbeumo, partnering with another similar wide threat in Amad limited the team's tactical variability as they both occupied similar zones, which consequently often left the Cameroonian marked out of games. And while Cunha enjoyed more familiarity with the system, having played as a left-sided number 10 in an identical formation under Vitor Pereira at Wolves, the lack of ball progression from United's left side meant that he often had to start his runs from his own half. This frequently led him to take the ball all the way to the opponent's 18-yard box, at which point he would sometimes suffer from tunnel vision, opting to shoot rather than seeking better passing options. But with United reverting to a 4-2-3-1 under Carrick, Cunha and Mbeumo have truly been unleashed. Now less is demanded of them tactically, while they are also enjoying greater individual freedom to rely on their instincts, a footballing quality that simply cannot be coached. Arguably, the biggest difference maker among United's summer signings has been Senne Lammens, for had he not replaced Andre Onana in goal last summer, United's results likely wouldn't have improved, their defence would still be struggling, and they would be closer to a one-way ticket to the Championship than the Premier League's top 4. After 2 seasons with Onana fumbling in goal, it was clear that a re-evaluation of the goalkeeper position was necessary. Seriously, the guy honestly couldn't even save a PDF. Originally, United planned to sign a new keeper only after selling either Onana or Altay Bayindir last summer, but this plan quickly changed following Onana's blunders in United's humiliating Carabao Cup exit to 4th-tier side Grimsby Town, along with Bayindir's failure to make an impression when given the chance. Last summer, Ruben Amorim had set his sights on veteran goalkeeper Emi Martinez, urging the United board to secure the Argentine from Aston Villa. However, the club's hierarchy ultimately blocked the move and opted for the young Senna Lammens, who joined on a deadline day deal from Royal Antwerp for about £18 million. Meanwhile, Onana, now dropped down the pecking order behind both Bayındır and Lammens, sought a loan to Turkish Super League side Trabzonspor. It was a calculated gamble by United to go into the season with a backup who had warmed the bench in the past year more than his girls' cheeks, along with a young keeper who had only one full season of First Division football in Belgium under his belt. Yet in retrospect, the club's decision was a masterstroke, securing a solution with a perfect blend of short-term reliability and long-term potential that Martinez couldn't provide. The pressure that comes with being United's goalkeeper is unmatched, but so are the rewards for those who own the role. Amorim was patient with his new keeper, not rushing the 23-year-old into action since he hadn't been signed with the expectation of stepping straight into the starting role.
You can feel it that he needs to adapt. New country, new training, the pressure that you guys put on the goalkeepers are massive. So it was like a little preparation for the guy to be ready to start his first game.
And to the delight of the entire fan base, Lammens has been a calm and reassuring presence from the moment he made his debut against Sunderland in early October, where he kept a clean sheet and has solidified